Or won't you slide on over? Oh, I wanna know you. Ooh, oh, I wanna know you till I can feel you closer.
Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon over here in the UK. This is Jess T of countryradio.uk. I'm talking this afternoon to Kristen Kelly. Kristen, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jess. How are you?
I'm really, really well, thank you. I'm really, really well. This is really exciting. I found out lots of information about you, and I wanted to share it with the listeners. You've got a great story to tell, and you've got some great music. Let's start off. Kristen. Tell us about you.
Well, I am from small town Texas. I'm from
Wow.
Lorena, which is 10 minutes south of Waco, halfway between Austin and Dallas. And I have been in Nashville for 11 years now. And I did music independently in Texas. And then I moved to Nashville for a record deal with Sony. And I was there for a few years and got to go on a major radio tour and a couple of major tours and just a lot of really cool stuff. And now I'm independent again and doing my own thing.
You certainly are. I mean, you've literally got everything, the entire life story, all there in a nutshell, done. But actually, there's so much more to it than just that. You do have a very full story. You've been doing this for a very long time. I know that your influence initially came from your grandfather. It was a family tradition to sing country, I believe.
Yeah, so my papa, Sterling Kelly, that's my dad's
Sterling
dad.
Kelly, that's right.
He had a band, Sterling Kelly and the Hearts, and I have 45s albums, like not 45 of them, but the size 45.
Yes.
Of Papa's music, and he was a BMI writer, and I, fast forward when I started writing songs years later, I'm a BMI writer, which is Broadcast Music Incorporated, and they're a performing rights organization. So BMI and ASCAP and CSAC are the three major PROs, and they will collect your royalties on audio, video, all the different performances where your music is heard. They collect royalties on your behalf and then pay you quarterly on that. So Papa was a BMI writer and I'm a BMI writer, and yeah, it's crazy that I never thought that music would be like a career path that I would end up.
No singer ever does, and no singer ever gets told by their family that it's even a possibility. We're always told, get a day job as well.
Yeah. I'm so incredibly blessed to have such a supportive family, and I'll talk to my dad, and he'll be like, "Just keep on writing, because you never know where you're gonna write that hit that's just gonna go all the way to the top of the charts." And and then my mom, she's so incredibly supportive, and it's just awesome, because not a lot of people, unfortunately, not a lot of people have that support system behind them, and I'm very incredibly grateful for that.
Family support is really imperative. So I know that you did have the support when you moved over to Nashville. I know that you started off with Big Dave and the Freaks as well.
Yes. So it's crazy. I was in a classic rock cover band called Big Dave and the Freaks for 3 years. And
you met them by chance by working in a bar, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I love, is the intricate parts of the story. How the universe kicks in, and you get these little moments, and
nudges,
so
if you will.
nudges. You're right. That's what it is, nudges. And you'll be in a bar, and then you happen to meet this band. You'd meet, and then you become part of it, and on you go.
Yeah, I was bartending my way through college, and it was a slow night at the bar, and we had karaoke, and I was singing. And
Not
then,
bad, is it?
And then this guy pulls me aside, and he was like, I was like, "Oh Lord, what have I done?" And so he asked me to sing something a cappella, and I sang "Complicated" by Carolyn Dawn Johnson. And he looks at me and he says, "Do you want to be in a band?" And I thought, where's the hidden cameras? You know, like you're funny. And that legit started my 3 year stint in a classic rock cover band. And from there, I went on to get a commercial music management degree from McLennan Community College in Waco, Texas, and then
That's right. You did that
started
in
doing
2 years, right? You did that in 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you were working alongside studying?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
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 That's usually, yeah, that's the story, isn't it? So, you're giving everything to this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I've worked, bartending and driving for Uber and for Lyft and like cleaning Airbnb houses and all kinds of
Right.
stuff, like just pretty much doing anything. Dude, I even built metal roofs with my old drummer in my
You know what?
downtime.
In
Um,
order to support the music,
just
no
anything
holds barred.
to help supplement the music income when that didn't cover all my bills. And yeah, it's crazy, like you can run yourself ragged running down a dream, but in the end, it's all worth it. I mean, when, first and foremost, I'm a fan of music, and there are songs that I have had to pull over on the side of the road, or I've had to sit down wherever I was, because they just hit me, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa, I've lived that.
that's it.
I, like, holy smokes. And then to have somebody come up to me at any given point and be like, thank you so much for writing, you know, X Old Man or whatever song it is. Um, because they share how that song has impacted their life and their journey. Um, you can't you can't put a price tag on that.
No, you
You can't.
can't. No, you can't. And it's all about relatability, and it's all about someone. The reason that we write songs is to one day someone will go, yeah, you hit me right in the heart. I get it. And actually, even more so when they then say that inspired me to do this and to do that, to move on, to
Amen.
move forward, to walk away, whatever that might be. And that's what it's about. And that's what your songs do. And I think that's really important. The storytelling is
Yeah.
country. Country wasn't always, well, country's always been here, but wasn't always so big in the UK, but it's growing so much. I mean, obviously to you guys it's second nature, really.
It's crazy. I mean, there's so many different kinds of great music out there.
There
Um,
are.
and yeah, country is the core of what I do, but I feel like I was heavily influenced by classic rock and the blues too.
I always find this. I find this amazing. It seems to be such a running theme with artists is that they usually come from rock and then they move into country. It's
Yeah,
like you mellow, you mellow a little bit, and then you want to, you live the pain, and then you want to pass on the stories.
yeah.
But rock gives it that edge.
Mhm.
You keep a lot of that flavor in your music.
Oh, thank you.
You do. You do.
Thank you.
You do. So, I mean, I know that you've done a couple of tours. I'll say a couple of tours with some phenomenal artists as well. So you really have had the opportunity to showcase your talent alongside some of the real greatest, country artists that we have, have out there. And how did you find that? How did that come about?
Well, touring in Texas, I did some stuff with like Gary Allen and Dwight Yoakam and a lot of the great Texas artists like Wade Bowen and Randy Rogers and Eli Young Band and Kevin Fowler and Roger Craig. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
I
And
know.
then whenever I signed my record deal with Sony Nashville and I was on the Arista imprint, um, I Brad Paisley was on the same label imprint that I was on, and that's not a guarantee that you're going to be on tour with somebody that's a label
No.
mate of yours. Um, but it just so happened that my manager at the time was good friends with Brad's manager, and they had a meeting, and he was like, hey, I've got an artist that if there's a slot, we'd really appreciate the opportunity. And so I was on the first major tour that I was on was Brad Paisley's virtual reality tour.
And that was
And on the virtual
2013.
Opry stage, along with Love and Theft and Jana Kramer, and then Scotty McCreery or Easton Corbin. Like if Easton was there, Scotty wasn't, and vice versa. And then the band Perry and Brad Paisley were on the main stage. But every night, Brad brought Brad brought all of us out on the main stage for the every night, which was really cool because he didn't have to, he didn't have to
No,
do
but
that.
he's a hugely supportive artist
Mhm.
of other artists, especially independents, which is fantastic. There's not enough support. We know that. And so not only have you toured with these, but I know that this came about, as you said, from Dwight Yoakam. There was a Dwight Yoakam, the concert performance. Is that right? That's where you had the initial opportunity, which kind of led to this touring.
Well, I was on Dierks Bentley's Miles in Music at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, and
Mm.
I met Paul Overstreet, um, who was on the road with Roger Krager at the time. And Paul invited me to Nashville to write with him, and it was through Paul that I met a lot of label people and managers and publishers, and then that was in April of 2010, and then in October of 2010, a lot of those people flew to Texas to see me headline at Billy Bob's. And then I was back in Nashville in November of 2010. And I had some more meetings and I played for some label presidents, just acoustic. And then in December of 2010, Renee Bell, who used to work at Sony, she used to be the executive vice president of A&R, called and offered me a record deal on December 15th at 12:28 p.m.
You remember the exact
Oh, I
moment.
had like
The
ran
exact moment, of
down
course, you would.
dates and crazy, silly things. But yeah, and then I signed in April of 2011, and we recorded half the project, and then fast forward to 2012, and the single gets released, and I'm out on a major radio tour, and then I go straight from that. I debuted um, on the Opry May
Yeah.
5th of 2012, and then hit the road with Brad Paisley. It was crazy.
It's the stuff of dreams. It is the stuff of dreams.
Yeah.
Yet you have chosen to go independent. You've chosen,
Hmm.
and
It's
that's
cool. It's
a big
um,
deal.
there's pros and cons to being independent, just as well as there's pros and cons to being signed with a record label. I last Thursday, April 22nd, 2021, was the 10-year anniversary of the day that I signed that record deal and my first publishing deal. And I'm still here in town doing my thing. I didn't pack up and move
No,
back to
no.
Texas, when I parted ways with the label. And this is my fourth project that I've released, includes the one that I released in Texas. But last Thursday I launched a Kickstarter, and it's a way to get the folks that have been asking me to, release new music. It's a chance to get them involved, and welcome them to my crazy family circus, and have some
Well,
fun.
the EP is called Something Worth Saying,
Yeah.
and you have a lot that's worth saying. You are a huge advocate for domestic violence and sexual abuse, for victims of. You do a lot of charity work.
Hmm.
And so I think that's worth saying. And it's not just about the music, but it's utilizing the music and the platform in order to be able to help people who are not in a place where they can necessarily help themselves. So it's an amazing thing to do for people. And can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, um, what's I'm a sexual abuse survivor. The man who used to be my stepfather is in prison for the rest of his life. Um, and as far as like sexual abuse goes, the statistics are pretty staggering. 1 in 5 little girls at some point in their life will be, sexually abused, by oftentimes a family member or somebody that's close to the family, and 6 and 20 little boys at some point in their life will be, sexually abused by somebody, oftentimes a family member or somebody close to the family. And this is what blows my mind. One out of 1,000 people that are committing these crimes will actually see any kind of time behind bars and will actually pay any kind of like consequences for their actions, which is unacceptable. Absolutely
I think
unacceptable.
that's the word. I think that's the word right there. It's absolutely unacceptable. It's certainly mind blowing, and anything that can help towards avoiding as much, well, bringing them to justice. Really,
Yeah.
anything to assist with that is imperative, actually, and it's almost draconian in the fact that there's not enough going on for that and to help
Mhm.
that.
So I am taking like it's crazy because last year I got divorced, which was great. It sucked, but it's also great, you know. I was brave enough to put a very unhealthy relationship um behind me and get back to putting my own BBs in my own box and like keeping my marbles in my own jar.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know what? Sometimes you need to look towards yourself and see what you can do for you.
Yeah, it's like it literally sucked the life out of me. And I I got, you know, I was brave enough to stand up for myself and put an unhealthy relationship behind me, and I got back to um pursuing music again. I mean, I had two or three guitars in pawn. Um and
Yeah.
actually lost a guitar at pawn. Was working four jobs and felt like I was not fueling, what fuels me, if you will. And so I had written a song called Something Worth Saying with Blue Foley and the late Randall Clay. And so last year I got to thinking about what it is that I want to say and how I want to say it now that I'm in a place again where I can work towards what I'm passionate about. And I have a really great support group around me, which includes my family, and I have an amazing boyfriend now. And um, they all encourage me to, you know
Speak up.
yeah, exactly. And so the song Something Worth Saying kind of took on a whole new meaning. And I have a friend who owns a bar here in Nashville, and he encouraged me to begin my own writers round where I have songwriters come in and they play. And so that's a platform for other writers and other artists, to share their truth. And then I'm launching this podcast in a couple of days called Something Worth Saying. And it's not just going to be artists and songwriters that are guests on the podcast. It's going to be people from all walks of life. And I just having been quiet,
Or
for a long
quietened.
time. And
Quietened as
too,
well.
like, one thing about my truth and being a sexual abuse survivor, it was something that certain people around me previously were like, well, we we might not should talk about that, kind of thing. And
Um,
why not?
mm.
Why not? I mean, does it make you uncomfortable if I talk about it? Because if it does, then maybe there's something to that. And I don't know, I'm just in a very vulnerable but at the same time empowered place in my
It is
life
very
now.
vulnerable. It's a massively vulnerable thing to do, and it's it's just not only brave. I mean, for people who do speak out, and you just don't know who you move. You don't know who you've spoken to. by doing that, and the message that you've given to people. You don't know whose life you could save just by doing that. It is very vulnerable, but like you say, it's actually an empowering time. I think, yeah, you get to a point where you go, I'm not afraid of this anymore, and
Yeah.
this is okay. It's not a fear anymore, and that helps you move forward as well.
Yeah. And I think about it. I don't have kids. I have dogs. I have
Same
two.
thing.
And but I think to myself, like my younger self, and then like if I did have kids, like what if back in the day when I was going through all of the stuff that I was going through, and I was writing poetry to process all of it, because I couldn't talk to anybody because I was told nobody will believe you. And I honestly believed that. And I just think to myself, like, what if there was somebody out there at that point that had, you know, a platform of any kind, and was brave enough to be vulnerable and share their truth. And if I would have heard it, if things would have been different. But none of that matters. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I believe that the good Lord doesn't, I'm not saying like the good Lord was like, oh, she's going to go through some crap. But I feel like you're not given anything that doesn't help make you stronger if you choose to see it that way. And you can't fully comprehend and process things if you don't work through it. Um, like there's an analogy of, there's a lake, and this lake is all this stuff that you've got. And you can just keep circling it all day long. Or you can swim through it, and you can navigate whatever it is. And then when you get to the other side, there's no more having to circle around it. And
It's a
I've
process
done
of
a lot of
healing.
navigating through a lot of crap. And
And so it's navigation, healing, and purging, and having to look into your shadow self, really, into everything, and deal with it and process it and accept it. Yeah, it's a huge journey, and I guess that the music has probably been, like you say, poetry. I get poetry. I love literature. So poetry really is where songwriting starts. It's just those thoughts and feelings that come out of you. And I think it's a therapy within itself, isn't it, really?
oh, yeah, honey, bless my co-writers' hearts, because there have been several times where I've walked into a room and it's just like, blah, 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 and
Or
then,
just, yeah,
or
yeah.
like walk in and you're like, ah, and you're crying your eyes out, and you're looking I'm sure they're looking at me like, what the hell did I walk into today? And then
A
you're grateful
great
they don't
song.
get up and walk out, that they're like, all right, let's work through this.
The
It's
start of a
that
great
thing,
song.
like,
A
we're
real
not gonna
song.
go around it. We're gonna ride through it, and we're gonna navigate it, and we're gonna come out the other side, and we're gonna be high-fiving and probably going and having a stiff drink afterwards.
More than likely. More than likely, but good music comes from it, and it's like you say, certainly a good platform. So what's to come on the EP? What are we going to hear from you?
So the
And
first
tell us
half,
about it. When does it come out?
do what?
Tell us all about it. All about it.
Okay, so the first half, I released it on February 9th,
You said
and
we got part 2, right?
yeah, we're working on part 2. And that's what I last Thursday I kicked off my Kickstarter campaign, inviting folks to get involved.
Yeah.
So I have like 5 or 6 songs that I definitely want to put on the back half, but I'm also thinking, like, why limit it? If we have 10 or 11 songs that are on the back half, then let's do it. Um,
It's hard
but
to eliminate, isn't it? It's like your children. It's hard to eliminate and to decide. because they all mean something, they all have a relevance, but it's putting it's like literally a creative piece of art, and just putting in the right ones that mesh together well, if that makes sense, you know?
But the title track, Something Worth Saying, will definitely be on there. And there's a couple of other really, really, songs that I'm really excited about. I mean, I'm excited about all of them, but there's some really significant songs that I'm excited to share, and the title track being one of them. The song is called Something Worth Saying, and I think when it's all said and done, and when my day comes, when I hopefully get to go meet my maker, I just hope that whatever it is that I have done, I have led with love. And I didn't expect to get emotional about this, but
yeah, that's it. But you're right.
This song has completely taken on a whole new life, Something Worth Saying. And one, I'm grateful to have written it with the late Randall Clay, and I'm just grateful to be sharing my truth again, through music, and whatever else the good Lord puts in my path.
You only get stronger and stronger, don't you? You only get stronger and stronger. They're only a way up. It's only ever up. It can only ever be up. And we can only ever learn and keep learning. And you have been through quite a journey and a long one. And music is your savior.
Yeah.
And your writing is, as we said, your therapy. And you are putting out a huge message to people that may not have any other way of being heard. So that is a huge thing to do, and not many artists do it. Not many artists are as brave. They think that we have a persona, that you have to keep up a persona, look a certain way, be a certain way, be professional, and that you can't be vulnerable and honest and spill the reasons you are the way you are, and there's just too much judgment, and there should not be any more judgment in it. And I think it's it's an amazing thing that you're doing. It is.
Thank you.
Are there any? What can you tell us about it? I mean, so how do you do it? What do you work with? Who do you work with? And how do people reach you as well? How do they reach you for advice and support?
Well, I'm all over the socials. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, and pretty
I
much.
can't do TikTok yet. I don't think I can cope. I feel too old for TikTok.
Oh, I tried to update my bio, and I got a message that I violated community guidelines, and I'm in timeout right now on TikTok. And I was like, well, you can just TikTok on out the door.
Out the door.
Yeah, most all of my social media accounts are Kristen Kelly Music, and I think Twitter is the only one that is at Kristen Kelly, but my website is kristenkellymusic.com.
And all the links are there to look into your work and all the other projects that you have, because you have several projects on the go. Like you said, this is your fourth, isn't it? You've done quite a lot of work essentially for the community.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and Pandora and YouTube and all those places you can find my stuff. And I have a link tree. It's a link thing. It's a thing where it's like you go to one
and you get them all.
And there's all these other links. I don't know.
All in one go.
So technologically challenged sometimes.
Well, it doesn't matter. We can't help it now. I mean, we have to just get on with it. Look at these things that we're having to do. We do these things. We're all at home. Long gone are the you know, getting all dressed up and stuff, and actually, you know, meeting people face to face. How have you found that out in Nashville? Because, you know, it's been quite different for us in each country. COVID has had an effect differently. You obviously must have missed performing for some time.
Oh
Are you
yeah.
back out there? Are you doing your thing again?
We definitely were shut down, like completely shut down for several months.
Mm.
And then last fall things started opening back up, and I've actually been really busy and traveling and playing live shows to live audiences. What is that anymore?
We've got
But
no idea. No idea.
yeah, and so
Oh, that must be really exciting to be back on the road.
it is. It
Mm.
is. It's really exciting, and it's fun. And you know, we're still taking precautions and um all that. And somehow by the grace of God, I have not had COVID. It's
Good.
crazy. Like, people around me have had it, and I have gone and gotten tested, and every time I go to get tested, because I thought, well, maybe I'm asymptomatic, you know, like this person around me has it back in the, you know, last year. And I thought, surely, I was like, I have it. Well, no, and I've been tested for the antibodies and everything. Nothing. Like,
So it's either you're bionic
oh,
or
I
it's
don't know
a
about that.
positive
I
vibe.
did I did take a lot of like vitamin C, and um I take probiotics regularly because I have a thyroid issue.
Mm, mm.
So I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. And I have an
I
O
think
blood
it's
type.
positive thinking. I think sometimes, you know, if I'm allowed to say that, I'll probably get lynched for it. But I think, you know, stay positive and healthy in your mind as much as you can, and you know, just try to like you say, spread love, think positive things, and
Yeah.
you know, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Either that and take vitamins,
Yeah.
eat fruit and stuff. You know, lay off the Coca-Cola. That's those are the kind of things that you got to do to help, I guess. But you know, you're a really positive person. You know, and that's hard to maintain when you've had, you know, difficult things happen. But you do stay positive. How do you do that? What's your thing, Kristen? I mean, what do you like to do? You know, I mean, like I say, Nashville's opened up now, so you can actually do some stuff. So what do you love to do in your own personal time, just to get a little bit more of a, you know, to know about you?
I absolutely love spending time outdoors. You know,
Mm.
I started writing a song the other day, and it stemmed from a line of there's no politics in the weather, you know? Like,
Ah,
I
there is in
love,
Britain.
what'd you say?
There is in Britain. We honestly, all we do is argue about the weather here.
Well, I love being outdoors, you
Yeah,
know.
you do. Yeah.
I grew up on 10 acres in Texas, and I went to the deer lease with my dad, and our family has a lot on the Brazos River, and so, you know, we grew up having a lot of fish fries, and I love the outdoors, and I bought a house in 2018 that's northwest of town here in Nashville, and um, I have a little bit of land, and my property connects to my friend's property, and they have quite a bit more land than I do. And so I try to, you know, get outdoors and
Nature again, another amazing therapy. It is a
set the
therapy
world
as well as
down
a
for a while, you know, unplug,
yeah.
unwind, um, and just get
It's
my brain,
respite. It's
heart
respite.
rate.
Isn't it?
So
Yeah. I think everybody needs that, and especially if you're back touring. I mean, where are you going to be over the rest of the year?
So next week, I'm gonna be in Key West for the Key West Songwriters Festival, and then I'm gonna be at the Floribama for the 2 weekends after that. And then at the end of this month, I'm gonna be in my home state of Texas, and then I'll be in Denver, Colorado. Um, this is my only weekend
That
this.
is my dog, by the way.
That's okay. I'm honestly surprised that my dogs haven't.
Yours have been amazing. Mine has been, honestly, as soon as I'm online, like, I want to talk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
loads to say.
this weekend
Yeah.
is the only weekend this month that I don't have anything booked. And I actually did have something booked, but I rescheduled like a month in advance because I knew that I was going to have some people coming to town. Um, so yeah, I'm all over the place.
But you must be absolutely ready for it, especially when there's been such a long pause.
Mhm.
And now that you're, so you said you are representing yourself. You are, fully independent now,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's just great. At the end of the day, you can you do it your way.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. That's all we ask. Honestly, it's been absolutely gorgeous to speak to you. So lovely to meet you, Kristen. And I can't wait to hear the EP, the second part of the EP. And I really, really hope that everybody goes out there and listens to all of your music. You really
Thank
are
you.
impressive talent, and also to take note of all the causes that you support and to get on board.
Thank you so much, Jess. It was so great to meet you, and I can't wait to hopefully see you in person someday and hug your neck.
Let's hug. No idea. We miss hugs. It'd be lovely to see you and lovely to meet you, darling. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's Jess T on countryradio.uk. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and know that there will be plenty more music videos, live exclusives and performances from country music artists across the UK and beyond.